Wait, this is a good question. Tourist, how can you predict the eclipse using a flat Earth?
You can't, bro. They're just guessing every time. They get it wrong all the time.
Are you a flat earther or not?
Of course I'm a flat earther, bro. I got CTE.
I can't tell if this nigga's trolling or not. No bullshit aside. Like, can you predict the eclipse on a flat Earth?
We've been doing it for thousands of years before everyone suggested the idea there was the ball.
How?
Yeah. What
How
this
can
guy
you-
said.
I think they use neutrino cycles.
Yeah, what that guy just said. That's what Plato was using.
They use what?
I don't know what he said.
You're not a flat earther, nigga. Yeah, keep defending women like a good goy.
I'll defend women and I'll defend the flat earth, bro. You don't scare me.
Why are you calling
Don't-
someone a nation?
Don't call me homophobic, because the last thing I am is scared of you guys.
You know, I have one thing common with gay men is that we both hate women. Oh my
Chud,
god.
bro. How does it feel to look in the mirror every day and see a chud?
Nigga, I'm a Chad. Chads hate women. Chuds love women.
Yeah, anyone who uses the term Chad unironically is a chud. I don't make the rules.
No, nigga. I'm a Chad, like actual Chad. I'm telling you.
Yeah, sure, bro.
Anyway, if we were able to see the Earth's curve,
Can't though.
Exactly. If I can't see it, how come
well,
it's real?
if we used a rectilinear lens and saw the curve, would you concede?
No, because the surface doesn't measure curved. So you can see something as something, but it doesn't measure that way, then it's not that, is
Of
it?
course I would concede, because you wouldn't see a curve if you're using a linear lens.
So if you literally saw using a rectilinear lens was specifically is to avoid a fisheye lens effect.
Well, wouldn't you want to
You
measure the surface to
Yeah,
verify
duh,
what
bro.
you're
Yeah,
observing?
if the Earth was round, it'd be round. Yeah, you're not gonna get that evidence though.
Well, that's what we're waiting for. We're waiting for the measurements. We're not just going to be out there looking at stuff, taking pictures of stuff.
Yeah, if I can't see the curve with my own eye, how is it real? Genuinely.
Well, even if you did see curve and you go down there and look for it, measure it, it's not there.
Yeah, but I don't see curve because there isn't one.
Okay, even if you saw it flat, you can still verify that it is flat
Yeah, with my eyes, bro.
through measurements.
Yeah, what measurements?
Deviation from horizontal.
Okay. So like if you saw it with a rectilinear lens and you saw a curve?
Yeah, then I would go down and verify on the surface to see if it's actually curving. Like if I went up really high and I saw it as flat, then I can go down and verify through measurements if it's actually flat.
And if you went up really high, wait, and what measurements? Like
I
you
just
would
said
take
deviation from horizontal, drop over distance, rate of change of slope.
so you would take a really long, mile-long ruler to see if there's an 8-inch drop?
Like a laser.
Oh, lasers are affected by refraction, so they can bend with it.
So you're
So
saying that a
what?
laser is bending at the rate of Earth curve?
An ad hoc notion to try and invalidate
depends.
using measurement by
I wasn't
could
sure.
use it-
I didn't know that lasers were
You could use a
flaccid.
neutrino laser, which won't bend to refraction, but those actually prove the Earth curve, unfortunately.
Sure.
No, stop.
That's why you guys.
do
That's why you guys don't use
you
them,
have
right?
that measurement of drop over distance in, verifying that the surface of the Earth is curving?
Do you have the neutrino laser measurements?
No.
Okay, well, a neutrino laser passes through everything, right? So it's not affected by refraction.
Oh,
So
supposedly, yeah.
just go ahead and give me the neutrino laser test.
I
Well,
looked
sure.
it
I
up.
mean,
Neutrino laser is
Refraction is not going to curve the laser.
Hold on, bro. I'm looking this up right now. It says a neutrino laser is a theoretical thing. It's not a real thing.
well, Debate Daddy wants to say that lasers are flaccid. I didn't know that lasers were flaccid. If you could show me that, please, that lasers
They
are
can.
bending at the rate of Earth curve, that'd be great.
I didn't say they
Nah,
bend it at the rate of Earth curve.
lasers do
I said they
refract.
can bend due to
You guys are all
refraction.
liars.
Oh, cool. So you could just take the refractive effects of the day, account for it, and
Has
still
no
see
bearing on trying to
measured
invalidate the
drop over
measurement.
distance, right?
Yeah, easy, bro.
Yeah, easy.
Factoid doesn't invalidate the measurements. It's just an ad hoc retort to get around the fact that the surface is not deviating from the laser. It's parallel with the laser.
That's what I want him to show me.
No.
Okay, well, yeah, you don't
So
have to do it if you don't want to. If you want to stay believing in
you
the
just
ball, that's
deny
okay.
it explicitly out loud if you want
No.
to.
So if you shined a laser a mile, it would be like it expands still, right? Like it's not expanding as much as a flashlight, but it would be 5 feet wide, and you'd only expect 8 inches to drop. So good luck figuring out whether there's a drop over
Couldn't you don't
distance.
expect? That's what is
We've seen
expected.
the laser measurements
Good luck.
be done. The surface is horizontal and parallel with the laser. Just blurting back, nope, it's not a refutation.
Sure, but you forgot to factor in refraction, right? Like you forgot to do the one thing that you were tasked with doing.
Oh, it wasn't forgotten.
Oh, you forgot. Okay, you didn't even know.
No, it's
Okay, so
not that they
you're
were
even
oblivious to
stupider
it
than I
either.
thought, actually.
No, they're not wrong just because you call them stupid.
Oh, it's just ad hoc. It's just globe math. It's just
No,
how
they're not
light.
wrong just because you are
It's
blurting out
just
names fallacies.
physics.
Yeah, so
I'll
go
call that
ahead.
No, they're
physics,
not
right?
wrong just because you're blurting out names of categories like physics.
Yeah, Mr. Debate, if you want to say that a laser that is running parallel with the surface is actually curving, then you need to prove that the laser is bending at the rate of Earth curve. Go ahead.
Just go ahead and do the laser test. Factor in refraction while you do it. It'll be
Blurting
valid.
Okay,
out
so you're just
refraction doesn't refute the measurements.
yeah, so you're just making
We
shit up
see the
then.
surface, we see the laser, it's
I'm
parallel.
not making shit up.
Okay, so show us the citation or somebody that has measured a laser bending at the rate of Earth curve. Go ahead.
I never said they bend at the rate of Earth curve. I don't know why you're. It could
Because if
depends
the
on
laser and the surface
depends
is
on the
parallel,
conditions.
but the surface is curving, then you're making a claim that the laser is bending at the rate of Earth curve.
I'm not making that claim.
Okay, so is a laser parallel with the surface?
It could not. It depends on the conditions. But I have something better, right? I have an uncut amateur rocket footage with a rectilinear lens, which
Does it
clearly
depict the water
shows.
to be curving?
I'm going to post it in side chat, and if you just
Oh,
take a look,
cool. I will
it's
acknowledge.
entirely uncut.
Yeah, I will acknowledge
And,
that the footage shows curving water.
and
So
you
when we
can
go on the
actually
surface and
see
check,
the
when we
curve
go in
around
the
the globe.
surface and check, it's not curving.
X,
So
Y,
what's
or Z
real?
axis.
This
What is
is
real? Reality
X, Y,
this
outside
or
of
is
your
Z
house
axis.
or
this
a
is
picture or
devastating,
video?
by the way.
X,
It's
Y, or
devastating.
Z axis.
I await the cope.
It doesn't have Z axis convexity, you don't have a case.
Oh, what the fuck do you mean by that? Z-axis. Why would you want to?
If it's just a
So
left
you're
right, it's not exclusively indicative of your
so
ball.
it's not like it's not depth. You're not seeing depth in a fucking rocket that went out
So if there is
very
no
close
Z
to outer
axis
space.
convexity like is entailed by a ball, then it's
But
obviously
notice how
not
you don't need
a.
that. Notice
You
how
do need that.
you could have
The
x-axis
necessary
and it can
entailment of
still.
ascending up from a ball. But you'll notice the Z
Notice how you
axis
would.
curvature.
Yeah, notice how you can actually see the ball. Like,
Okay,
notice.
well, we
Just
went
look at
through
it.
this already. We're not just going to be
If
looking and
there's no Z
confirming through
axis
optics.
curvature evident, then you don't have a case.
Why do you want to run away from the surface so bad?
Just to be clear, I posted a full uncut video, rectilinear
I
lens.
understand. I am confirming with you. Yes, I see curvature in the footage.
Excellent.
When we go
All right,
outside, the
welcome to the
curvature
globe.
is not there.
Welcome to the globe.
When we go outside, in reality,
No, when you
the
go
curvature is
outside and
not
you don't
there.
factor in covariates like refraction, and then you say, well, I don't see the curve,
Okay,
you're
so
not
show me
doing
a
anything
refractive
impressive.
effect
You're
that is
just
capable of bending a laser at the rate of Earth curve. Go ahead.
depends on the conditions. Did you measure them?
Okay, give me the conditions that would bend a laser at the rate of Earth curve. Go ahead.
Just plug it into whatever calculator you have.
I'm not
But
talking
you
about
would
a
need to
calculator
actually do the
outside.
measurements.
We need a demonstration where we can actually
So you
go
go
outside
outside,
and bend a
if you
laser
go
at the
outside
rate of
like a
Earth
retard
curve.
and shine a fucking flashlight and you see it like doing something, and you don't
We're not
factor in
shining
any
a
of the
flashlight.
conditions,
I just said laser.
it's not valid. It's not
Why is it not
valid
valid?
because you're not
Because he
factoring in
said so.
covariates.
Because
Just
he
because
said
you say
so.
so? Yes, for all of the
I'm
uses
showing you
of lasers
literally
in history,
Earth
for
curve to
construction,
your
for military
eyes.
uses, they're using a laser as straight.
No, you're
You're
not.
denying your own
You
eyes.
see,
That's how
no,
dumb
you're
you
not
are.
showing. You're not showing the curvature that is entailed by your proposition. We don't see z-axis curvature in the footage. I just looked at it.
Yeah, you can see x-axis curvature, which is literally
Not
the
exclusively
edge of
indicative
the
of your
globe. You
ball,
can literally
and
see the
not
ball.
exclusively indicative of your
You're
ball.
looking at a ball in the image,
Yeah, so
in
then
the
it's
footage,
what
when you
state are
freeze
they
frame
in?
it, and you can see the curve.
What state are they in?
What does it
What state
matter?
are they in?
What does it
Yeah,
matter? I don't know.
it's
Like, I
the
could look
same
it up.
thing. Yeah, it's the same thing with the Baumgartner jump, the Red Bull jump. So if you want to appeal to that too, like what you're trying to do here, then what do we live on planet New Mexico?
What's the problem with launching at any arbitrary positioning?
You're not going to like
Looking at this,
internalize the rhetorical question that exposes the ridiculous entailment of
what
that
was the
type
problem
of
with?
argumentation.
Well, did they use a
Yeah,
rectilinear
what state are
lens?
they in?
I don't see why that would be relevant.
Because if you only see, right, if you only see as far as just the state that they're in, what is 20%, 15%, 30% of the planet, that one state? Obviously not. It's an asinine entailment. Think your arguments before you say them.
I literally do not understand what you're saying.
Right, because you haven't thought this through.
Now,
Right,
if that were like
if the lamb that they see
well, think
in the footage is no further or nothing more than the city or the state that they're in, that entails that 15 or more percent of the earth is that state, and there's no territory, no state or city that freaking big. It's an asinine entailment. So you're
well,
not actually
Gregory,
so high that you're seeing
let me
the curvature of the earth.
explain something to you.
It
So
entails
if
that you're
that
seeing
were,
a big
I
fraction of
think
an
I
entire
understand what you're
continent at
saying.
that height.
I think I understand what you're saying. You're saying, well, you want to see z-axis curve because the x-axis curve, that could just be the edge of the disk, right? And it could be like shaped like a circle at the edge.
It's not even necessarily the
And
edge of
it's
the
not
disk,
actually a
just the
globe.
extent
You're
of
actually
what
looking
is
at
visible.
the edge of the frisbee. Now,
Not even
what's
necessarily the
interesting
edge of the
is
disk. It's
what's
not even
interesting.
necessarily the edge of the disk. It's not necessarily an entailment either.
Well,
Just the extent of what
what's
is visible, given all the conditions in that situation.
what's interesting is that's not the edge. So you're just coping. That's ad hoc.
I didn't say, I
That
didn't say,
is
notice
literally
how you're
what's
just
ad hoc.
ignoring my replies. I didn't say that it is the edge. I never said that. You contrived that notion and then attacked it, acting as though it's refuting what I've actually said. So you're attacking a straw man. I just told you that's not a necessary entailment of what I've conveyed and what I actually said. It's just the limits of what
What
we
would be
see in that
blocking your
condition.
view? Go ahead. What would be blocking your view of seeing to the edge of the pizza
Several
crust?
factors go into visibility, external and internal. You don't
I'm
see
not gonna lie,
forever.
bro.
You don't just
I
see
just watched
everything.
the video you sent.
So
This video
it's
of
just
the
going to be
amateur rocket launch.
vague external factors, vague. You can't explain what they might be, but just something
Dude, it happens in
that's
every situation. There's
unexplained.
several factors all the time. It's not
There's
just
just
one thing.
several factors, guys. Do you got that? Several factors.
Okay, you can reply with mockery all you want to.
We don't know what they are. He doesn't know what they are.
I can send you a list of all of them.
Well, here you see him looking at Earth curve and denying it with his own eyes.
That's not
I'll say
Denying
this.
what his
Earth
eyes
curve.
see.
That's not your ball.
That is a
I'm
cult.
looking at wait. I'm
You are
looking
literally
at 5
delusional.
minutes and 43 seconds when they're on the ground, and it looks curved.
It's a rectilinear lens, so
Well, why does it look
stretches out for fish
curved
eyes.
while it's on the ground?
We know whatever there is absolutely curve. Period.
Okay, so the same curve that it's showing on the ground seems to be the same curve that it's showing in space. That's intriguing. I wonder why. How does
So
that?
you're denying what your eyes see as well?
Well, you're denying that while it's on the ground, you see a curve, which you cannot see while you're on the ground. You cannot see the Earth curvature if you're on the ground. It's impossible.
Post this
Let's ask
screen
him
grab
this too.
from that.
Let's ask him this
And
too.
yet this film is showing it at 5 minutes and 43 seconds.
Exactly. Let's ask him this. At what height is Earth curve visible in your worldview? Now you're either going to say with the
I don't know.
Yeah, okay. So you have no idea. So that obliterates your whole argument. You have to establish that
By the
in
way,
order
at
for you
5
to
minutes, it's
actually
showing
in
like
order
a
for you to
mountain
actually in order for you to actually
Okay, post the screen grab.
right, yeah, in order for you to actually have a coherent argument that has specific standards, right? You have to know at what height, according to the scientist clerics that you subscribe to, say what they say is 35 to 50,000 feet is where Earth curve becomes visible. But other guy whose
Oh, by the way,
username is
you literally
Yuga,
can't see Earth curve at 5 minutes 43 seconds.
Yaga
You literally
Bruno,
cannot.
Yaga Bruno, he's in the VC. He showed you footage where at 22 miles, which is 121,000 feet, there is no XY curvature in the footage. So you have a discrepancy. Why allegedly, according to your
post the
footage,
full
do you then
unedited clip.
see why allegedly do you then see XY curvature according to you at what seems to be according to the description in your video 2,900 to 2,900 something feet, but we don't see it at 121,000 feet. That's inconsistent and entails that your argumentation is wrong.
Post the full video. Post the full unedited,
with or without the full
uncut video.
the evidence is right here.
Because what I've literally seen you guys actually edit and Photoshop things to make it look flat. So I don't.
No, you
I don't.
haven't.
This
You're
gift
full
is
of
nothing.
shit.
We don't
You're
care about
absolutely
literally
full of
nothing to me.
shit.
Don't care about conspiracy theory. See, it's valid for you to assert a conspiracy theory to undermine the obvious unedited footage, but it's not okay for us. Again, the hypocritical ad hoc argumentation people do.
I posted a full, uncut, unedited clip. You know exactly the lens they're using, and you can see curve. You deny
and yet,
that.
There's evidence that at 121,000 feet, there is no such curvature evident. So that's obviously a black swan, as it were, your speech, for your argument. If it's visible, according to your scientist clerics, at 35,000 to 50,000 feet, then it should certainly be visible at 121,000 feet, which is not.
By the way, this GPS altitude 293,000 feet. So, GG's, mine's higher.
Yet that all the more exposes the discrepancy. So at 35 to 50,000 feet, it's allegedly visible. Then we have evidence that at 121,000 feet, it's not visible. But then for some reason, it becomes visible more than 2 times that. That's obviously stupid.
At whatever 5-minute mark he said you cannot see curve. By the way.
Okay, you're just deflecting from the thing I just said 5 seconds ago. Right? Your pattern of argumentation, according to your scientist clerics, it should be visible. It would be visible at 35,000 feet to 50,000 feet. check any source. That's what your scientist clerics say. Then we have evidence that it's not evident at all at 121,000 feet. Then, according to you, to add the last layer of this ridiculous cake of argumentation, it's all of a sudden visible again at 2 times that height, more than 2 times that height. That's obviously incoherent. That's not how physics work.
You have a false premise, though.
I don't.
Yeah, you made up that you could see curve at like what 50,000 feet or whatever.
I didn't make
Which
it
you
up.
can't,
You can
so-
look it up. That's what your scientist clerics say. Every source is going to show you that.
So you're
you just
saying,
reply
well,
back at me with you made it up because it's obviously a fact and your doctrine that you inherited from these people that's not convenient for your worldview.
oh, so you're ruling out my footage, which is higher and better than yours and uses a better lens because
So again, you're just
you read
ignoring the
something on
argument that obviously
Wikipedia, you
exposes
read
the
a random
inconsistency of your
sentence on Wiki.
argument. Right? We don't need to listen to you ignore. Right? We don't need to hear you audibly ignore the argument. According to your clerics, you can see it. You can begin seeing the curvature at 35,000 to 50,000 feet. Then we have evidence that it's not visible at all 121,000 feet, more than 2 times 50,000 feet. Then for some reason, in your line of argumentation, it becomes visible again at more than 2 times in 121,000 feet at 22,900 something feet. That's incoherent. That's not how sight and physics work. You don't ascend and ascend, descend, and then Earth curvature becomes visible, and then you ascend even more 2 times that height, and it becomes invisible, and then you ascend 2 more times that height, and then it becomes visible again. That's not a freaking thing.
Oh, by the way, Yaga, Bruno, or like all these people posting. Oh, it's a flat earther posting it. Yeah, they know it's a fisheye lens. Yeah. So in any case, at 121,000 feet, I would like to see the full footage of that, by the way. If you want to drop it in my DMs, I'll take a look at it. But even just like
Yaga
supposing
Bruno
that
can
they
hook you up.
used the same lens, the one that I'm showing you is still just, it's twice as high. You could get twice the view, the vantage point. I don't think you understand
121,000 feet
how
is more than 2 times
significant an
50,000 feet.
extra 150,000 feet would do.
121,000 feet is more than 2 times 50,000 feet, which is where
Yeah, but
your scientists clerics say it
300,000
would
feet.
become visible. The Earth curve would become
300,000
visible at
feet is
50,000
like
feet, according to your
over
scientist
double.
clerics. But then it's not evident at all at 121,000 feet, more than 2 times that height. That's
And if
obviously
you
a
go
black swan that
2.5
refutes your
times
notion.
that height, you have a much
You're
clearer
just
depiction of
ignoring
what's going on.
that the evidence that Yaga Bruno just sent is a black swan that refutes your notion. You're just ignoring that.
There's no black swan. Go to
It is.
300,000 feet. Go
Your
to
notion
300,000 feet and
entails
show
that it
me.
would become visible at all heights above 35,000 to 50,000 feet.
You guys
with 50,000
are
feet.
flat earthers. You have a whole collective.
Your
Go to
notion
300,000
entails that
feet
it
and
would
show
be
me.
consistently visible at all heights above 50,000 feet, not at some heights, excluding 121,000 feet. That's ridiculous. Everyone knows that's a stupid entailment.
Go ahead and show me.
It's not a
No,
freaking thing.
show me the 300,000 feet footage. Go ahead and do it. Can't.
What the hell are you talking about? I didn't say anything about 300,000 foot
You're
footage.
just saying, well, we have this inferior test that had inconclusive results. I'm like, we want like,
You just
come
don't know
on,
how to
bro.
think soundly, right?
I posted
all.
literally one of the best
Your notion
amateur
entails
launches
that
on
Earth
the
curvature
planet.
should be visible at every height, not some heights above 50,000 feet. But we have evidence that not every height, that
Well,
it's
just to
not
be clear,
visible at every height.
if you look at
In your
my
own
footage,
worldview. So this is a
if
ridiculous
you look at my
entailment for your
footage,
position.
and yeah, if you look at my footage, right? If you look at a freeze frame, and you try to imagine you're only 1/3 of the height like yours is, it would be far harder to detect the curve. It is so clear with how much higher it is, 2.5 times as high as yours, that
So you're just going to continue
it's
ignoring the fact
undeniable.
that in your doctrine from your scientist clerics, that it would be visible at 50,000
Who cares
feet.
about what some random fucking guy
Yeah,
said?
exactly.
Who
You have to
fucking
ignore
cares?
that fact because it's obviously
Look with
entailing
your
that your position is
eyes.
wrong.
Literally, look with your fucking
Yeah, you're
eyes.
just continuing to
You're
talk
denying your
back at
eyes.
me and ignore the rebuttal.
Fuck the scientist. He was wrong. Okay, we're not defending him.
Yeah,
We're
now you just
sending him to the
arbitrarily
gulag.
dismiss what your scientist clerics
We're
say.
we're sending him
Neil
to the
deGrasse
gulag. He was
Tyson,
wrong.
Michio Kaku, Bill
Yep.
Nye, all
Execute.
these people that you look up to, all
They're
these
wrong. They're lying.
doctoral
They're
people
deceiving.
that you look up to, they're all going to tell you that it would be visible at 50,000 feet. Now, because it's not convenient for your little argument here, pretending that you know better than us, that you just want to hand wave what they say. So you ridicule us for not adhering to what they say when they obviously know
Yeah.
better than you and us,
Yeah. So
according to
we're not
your
defending them.
worldview.
We're not defending
And
their
then when
wrong
they say
claim.
facts, or then when they say propositions in your worldview that you've gotten from them that are
I'm not here to
inconvenient for
defend
your
every
current
claim that
argument
they're
now,
making.
then you hand wave them.
I'm not here. Look, if you're going to keep shoehorning me into defending every proposition they've ever uttered in their life, right? They're not infallible. So
No,
they
it's
say something
routine that you people do all the
they could have
time.
said something
Because
wrong.
you
I'm
come
not
in
here
here
to
espousing
defend that.
their doctrine. You come in here
Focus
espousing their
on
worldview, especially
focus on
concerning
your
the earth.
eyeballs.
And then when we
Focus
show
on
you
what you're
what they
seeing.
teach, doing an internal criticism, then you just hand wave what they say, and you just become all of a sudden the arbiter of all the empirical facts concerning the shape of the earth and all the
Well,
rest.
I literally am showing you Earth curve, and you're
Yeah,
denying
and
it to
according
your
to
face.
your clerics, right? Because you have clerics just like the Christian and the Muslim and the Jew and the Hindu,
delusional you are.
etc.
This is how bad
According
it
to the
is.
people who know better than you in your worldview, the doctoral people, the doctors, the professors,
Oh, you're going
these
back
university graduates,
to
they
Bill
know
Nye
better
again.
than you, and they're telling
Bill
you
Nye,
that it would become visible at 50,000 feet. Then we
I'm not
have
defending
evidence
that
that's not
proposition.
visible at more than two
I'm
times that
conceding that
height.
proposition.
Then you just ignore that with your conspiracy theory, saying
I'm
that
not
you
here
just
to defend that.
that we just doctored it, that someone just doctored the evidence that Yaga Bruno put in the open chat, and then you just hand wave the fact that anyone can research with Google or any other search engine that every source of scholars is going to tell you, yeah, it would become visible at 50,000 feet.
Look, like, I'm just going to tell you this, because if I went and pulled any random flat earther's random false claim, like, there was some guy the other day that said, there's some, like, invisible third sun in the middle of, then that's what causes eclipses, is some invisible object casting a shadow.
That bullshit.
So
So
any of that
you-
shit
so
is
wait, no,
incorrect,
hold on.
what I
claim
just
it.
said.
No, debate
You
that.
don't claim that
missed
bullshit.
It.
Fine.
No, you missed
That's
it.
fine. But if I were like,
hey,
well,
listen,
down
your
and listen to
doctrine
Crit.
says this, and your
okay, this is bullshit, dude. You are unable to listen to anything presented to you. I was there for that. Okay, the main focus there was that you guys would come into flat earth spaces and say, how do you explain eclipses? Flat earthers would say, I don't. I don't make claims to sky magic. That's your guys' model. That's for you to defend. So then you say, sure, I can explain an eclipse because you have sun, earth, moon in a complete line, a straight line. And the moon has a shadow of the earth cast upon it because it's backlit by the sun. Certainly, Toby, how do you explain the impossible eclipse, the Selenilian, using that explanation? Then you're like, the Selenilian eclipse doesn't exist. That's fake. That's CGI. The only way an eclipse can work is if you have sun, earth, moon in that exact order. Then you guys look into it. You're like, oh, not a problem at all. This is an impossible eclipse. No problem. Not an issue. That's refraction. Easily explained with refraction. Okay, certainly, Toby. How do you explain the shadow is upside down? That's fake. The shadow isn't upside down. You flat earthers are liars. You're grifters. You're full of shit. Then they look into it. Damn. That shadow'll be upside down. Now what? Fuck. Then your new playbook, the new goalpost is the impossible eclipse is not only possible, it happens every time. Every time there's an eclipse, you guys just don't see it because it magically happens over oceans where people don't witness it. It's all predicted. The impossible upside down eclipse was a necessary part of the observation. And like, holy shit, really? And then you say, but if there's any explanation on a flat earth for how this could happen, I'll take it as equal weight. So some guy says, well, if there's another body up there that is acting on, there's sun, earth, moon, and another thing. Is that possible? And you're like, well, sure, there could be something up there. They call Russell's teapot and whatnot. And then just a couple days later, you come in here and say, flat earthers claim there's an extra invisible thing up in the sky. That's batshit crazy. What a bunch of fucking retards. I mean, what's wrong with you, dude, at this point?
And notice he said that as a reply to me doing the internal criticism of his worldview, appealing to what his doctoral clerics of scientism say according to his worldview. He's adhering to their worldview. But of course, when we highlight particular factoids within their lore that's inconvenient for his particular argument, like in this instance, then he just hand waves them. And then he makes an analogy. Yeah. And then he makes an analogy like you just heard, like you just concluded with. He makes an analogy between the doctoral clerics of his worldview that he gets his worldview from to these crackpot so-called flat earthers talking about these other celestial fictions. So that what does that entail? He's throwing his own clerics under the bus as though there's some sort of crackpot fringe stupid people.
Yeah, it's not even just that. He's like saying, hey, can you brainstorm any possible way that this observation be possible? Anything at all. Because if you can't, then the Earth is a globe. If you could think of something, some other possible explanation, that's just as good. And then he'd go on the backswing and be like, I can't believe flat earthers claim there's extra sky magic. No, no one in flat earth cares to talk about your sky magic. That's you. That's your side who keeps pointing up and say, look at the sky as your only purpose or only proof of what the ground is. And then if the flat earther entertains your dumb shit, even for 1 minute, then all of a sudden you're like, oh, look at the flat earth model. It has extra shit in the sky that we can't see.
Yeah, come play my sky magic game. Oh, look, they're playing my sky magic game. What dumbasses. And in a way, they're right.
Speaking of sky magic,
this is why it's like almost impossible to get you guys to talk about anything, the surface of the Earth. You'll talk about anything other than the surface of the Earth as your proof of what the surface of the Earth is.
I just posted a video of the surface of the Earth, by the way. But
and then when
while
you
we're on
want
the topic of sky magic, how do you explain? Like, how does the moon stay up? Like, why doesn't it just fall down to the Earth? Like everything else?
Why? Why does it do that?
Categorical
explain the sky magic to me.
You explain your sky magic
on this subject.
Yeah, how about this one?
We got
why
obliterated on this topic.
If Coriolis is true, why is the storm on Jupiter spin the wrong direction?
What do you mean by wrong? Like, you mean like contrary to the Coriolis effect?
Which way should it spin if Coriolis is true?
It should spin the way that the overriding force is. There might be other forces. I'm not a physicist.
Yeah, you're just a dumbass on the internet. I get it. Which way do storms
spin? You're one of the
laymen.
We get it.
So well, hang on. We're all in a Discord call right now. So I mean that applies to all of us.
No, the majority of the time, where the flat earther is usually at least an adept in scientism. But the sycophants of scientism usually are just uneducated laymen that know little to nothing about that worldview.
Okay, let's see if he even knows. What direction do storms spin on Earth according to your globe model?
The Coriolis effect, like the spin of the globe. will tip them in a particular direction as possible for them to spin otherwise, but it absolutely has an overriding effect. I don't know on Saturn or whatever, like what other forces
Holy
are at
shit,
play.
dude. You don't even know your own fucking model, and you're gonna come in here and try to do an internal critique of flat Earth. I mean, like, really, what the fuck is wrong with you, dude? You think step one, learn globe. Okay, I learned the globe. Now, how do I verify this information? You don't do that either. Never checked it out. Never verified it. Just say, I'm gonna
What do you
go
want
on
me
the
to just
flat Earth
explain
server.
Coriolis to everybody in the room?
Not even explain
Like, is that
it.
what you asked?
Motherfucker, do you know which direction storm should spin? At all?
Like in the northern or southern hemisphere?
Yeah.
I thought it was clockwise in the north and south, counter in the south, but I could be wrong.
It's okay
I don't know.
it's okay to get it wrong. Now the main part is now fact check that. How would you know if that is true or not? What could you do? Could you look up all the storms? See that any storm break that. You could look up that big red storm on Jupiter. They tell us a big red storm. What direction does that motherfucker spin?
It doesn't mean that all storms have to spin that way, by the way. It just means...
Yeah, they did. Because the variable, the cause and effect relation, is the rotation of the Earth. That much force.
Yeah, because the equator is spinning like
force.
slightly faster than like something like more up north. And so it's going to accelerate those particles a little bit faster. And
now check that.
Then
that would
be like the start of the Beyblade spinning in that direction versus another one.
Now go check that out.
But we don't know what happened on Uranus. I don't know, like maybe there's some scientific stuff I could look up, but I've never thought of that.
Jupiter.
So I'm not going to Jupiter. I'm not going to speak on it.
See, suddenly now they want to use their sky magic.
Notice though,
then you don't. They use their sky magic. Explain the moon. Do it. Let's hear it.
Oh yeah, well we still don't know
why does the moon stay in the sky?
Down.
Why?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
just
we don't know.
Just to really complete Kurt's point.
No, hold on, Gregory. Let him flounder. Let him like a.
But
why does the moon stay in the sky?
Oh well, we can say orbit, but you guys can't say that.
Okay, say
so
it.
Go ahead.
Say it. What's an orbit?
I'm saying orbit.
Which is what?
Yeah.
What is that?
Gravity.
Gravity. Just words now. You can't explain shit. So here, I'll put my Globetard hat on. The moon is falling towards the Earth, but the Earth keeps moving out of the way before the moon gets there. So how does a flat earther give a better explanation for why the moon stays in the sky? And you just say, orbit, gravity. Just single cope words that you don't have any idea what they mean. No fucking clue. And you say, oh, but it's weightless. Those motherfuckers who go up to low Earth orbit, 200 miles up, they're weightless. There's no gravity on the ISS. But then you go 250,000 miles away, suddenly gravity's back on. It's off again, it's on again, off again, it's on. It's pulling, gravity's so powerful, it's pulling the moon back to the Earth. But
there is gravity on the ISS.
Yeah, dude, shut the fuck up.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying that your claim's wrong. There is gravity on the ISS.
Dude, this is...
no one's ever claimed that there isn't.
Okay.
I'm taking out, but closing, I'll say...
do. They do claim that. Let's say, when you listen to globalists, they'll tell you, how do you explain this microgravity on the ISS? They don't know shit about fuck, dude. It's like they come in here, they have no idea. You ask them, like you, Leo, on your modern day debate, the mod over there. Ask them, how far away is the ISS? 4,000, 5,000, 8,000. He's just guessing thousands of miles away. You're like, certainly. Why do you think it's that far away? Well, the live stream cameras on the ISS. I go, yeah, what about them? They show, because based on his very poor understanding of math, the amount of curvature he's seen on these live streams has to be that far away. It couldn't be just 200 miles up. See, these guys don't know anything. You don't know shit. You're going to come in here and try to critique a model, try to defend a model, and you don't know anything about it at all. It's like, go step one, why the fuck do you think it's a globe? What did you do to verify it? Did you curvature? What did you do? Nothing. You just got some worldview, some random worldview that needs to be a globe for some reason. Some sort of cosmic nihilism, atheism. You got this Bill Nye, I suck speech that's stuck in your head. Meanwhile, all of NASA super religious, all the astronauts super religious. They put Bibles on the moon and shit. It's like, you guys, your worldview is so fucked up. It's so deeply contradictory that the only way you can square it is run around the internet saying not flat every day.
So you actually believe the world is flat?
No, it's not a belief, yeah. Oh, go ahead, Ethergrass.
If you measure your height, would you consider that to be a belief? It's a measurement of your height, a belief. It's a yes or no question.
Yeah, he didn't want to converse with anyone. He just wanted to heckle in the background.
Another thing, I just say what they're gonna do. Oh, you guys think the Earth's flat, and then they do it. They just blurt, squawk, and run.
Just to complete Chris' point earlier, in case anyone wasn't tracking, not just the people in the VC, but the people watching on YouTube, whoever is watching, listening. The first point that he said to, I'm gonna call him DD. I'm not gonna call this dude Daddy, nor debate because he doesn't know how to do that either.
It's Reductio. He's on the sock account.
Reductio.
Yeah.
The sock account. Okay. So Reductio, DD, debate Daddy. Right, like Crit was just talking about. Play the Sky Magic game, Flat Earther. Right, give me your explanation of this celestial phenomena, whatever the hell it is. For instance, the sun, which I wasn't here earlier for. And then Flat Earther Alpha does that, and then follows up with ridicule of Flat Earther Alpha for doing that. So before playing the game, ridiculing the Flat Earther for not having an explanation, or for not playing the Sky Magic explanation game, then when they oblige, then they ridicule them and mock them for playing the Sky Magic game. So it's obviously hypocritical, first and foremost. And then secondly, that's not how you scrutinize the issue, by just contriving explanation. Right? And nor do you have to, thirdly, you don't have to contrive some sort of substitute explanation, some sort of substitute body of lore in order to refute the initial body of lore that they do espouse. That's three things. Three errors on their part. Now, I tried to be patient and let that dude talk, but of course, we all heard it. We all heard him ruin the conversation, ruin the debate when he started just talking through my replies, trying to prevent me from replying, and saying replies that obviously are just ignoring the obvious critique that I'm saying to him. So I'm just going to keep repeating the relevant refutation that has direct bearing on the last thing he said to try and prove his case, to try and refute flat earthers. Look over here. Look in the open chat. We can see Earth curve, which is devoid again of a z-axis convexity, which he tried to dismiss and hand wave arbitrarily. Right? He just said it's not necessary. It is necessary. Because the XYZ axis is not exclusively indicative of the alleged SE, spheroidal Earth. Look at the XY axis curvature in this footage at 290 something thousand feet. Let's say 290,000 feet, 290K feet. Yeah, okay. Your clerics, internal criticism, your clerics say that it would be visible at 35,000 to 50,000 feet. And we have evidence that's not visible at more than 2 times that height at 121,000 feet. So how the hell does this work? Do you really want to espouse the entailment that you ascend in height, you see it at 50,000 feet, for instance, then you ascend 2 times that, and then it looks flat all of a sudden, and then you ascend 2 times that, more than 2 times that, and then you see it curve again? What type of shit is that? Because that's the entailment. Well, no. Obviously, that's just fake. No evidence, just a conspiracy theory, and it's okay for them to contrive conspiracy theories to invalidate photographic evidence, but not us. Well, hypocrisy again. That's 2 things. And then try to hand wave what is easily known to be a factoid in the lore that is scientism. This 50,000 feet Earth curve visible thing notion is in the worldview his clerics espouse. And of course, that's not convenient for his argument. So he just arbitrarily hand waves that. And then makes an analogy that basically conveys that his own clerics that say this, that's not convenient for his argument, are a bunch of crackpot people analogous to flat earthers contriving all sorts of celestial fictions, third sun and all this other stuff. And then we ended with that. Behold the wisdom of the scientist adherent, the adherent to scientism. Just like everyone else in every other category, every other category of worldview, there are those who are the adepts. There's the official clerics. Under them are the adepts, are not the official ordained clerics, as it were. And then there's just the laymen. And there's always zealots sprinkled in there. Usually the zealots are on the bottom category. The last category I mentioned, the laymen. The higher up you go to the clerics, the doctoral clerics of theirs, they don't have the same erratic and the same erratic, sycophantic attitude and behavior. They really just sit there and talk like normal folks, mostly.
You done?
Or are you asking because you want to continue on with the same subject or go on to another subject?
You talk.
Yeah, he's clearly talking
that's
to people.
Just too bad.
See, you'll see this
about
too.
What you don't want to hear.
You see this idea
Yeah,
too.
ahead,
They come in here and you get these anti-flat earthers. Like, why are they like this? Why are they so against flat Earth? It's because they need to invent a group of people who's more disgusting than they are. And you see this, like this guy that came in here, Modern Day Debate, just started squawking his ass off. About a year and a half ago, we said, hey, we're going to break ties with you guys. They had a mod over there. They got busted in a Chris Hansen style sting.
Wow.
Anti-flat earther. It's like all these anti-flat earthers, they realize that they're at the bottom of society. They're the worst of the worst. But they fancy themselves as some kind of like great philosophical thinker that like science this and science that. Right. But they have to cope. But they have to punch down. And they have to invent a group of people. Like, look how awful these flat earthers are.
Exactly.
And then they're like, sure, okay, we'll leave you alone, you leave us alone. And they couldn't even, their word as a man. They won't even abide by it. And they keep sending their trolls over to our channel. It should be a pinned comment somewhere in your server. Leave the flat earthers alone.
Leave the dumbass flat earthers alone. Stop trolling them. You're making us look bad. Nope. They act just like the Scientologists. The Scientologists do the same thing. They go out of their way to harass whoever they perceive to be enemies against them or enemies against humanity. Because of course they convince themselves that they're doing as it were, a crusade or a holy war against the flat earthers, who are such a malignant virus in human civilization.
Yeah, McToon said that. We just did an event on Anti-Truth League. And they just said, hey, how about be honest? Like one person said, you've been yelling and just, shit-talking flat earthers for like 3 hours. Like, how do you justify behaving this way? Just because someone you think is wrong or doesn't have an answer to your question. Like, they've given you, like, the broken logic. Like, McToon's like, I got a question for you flat earthers, and you can't answer it. And then you answer, and he tells you your answer isn't an answer, it's a wrong answer. And you're like, okay, so I'm wrong, and I didn't answer at the same time. He's like, yeah. Okay, so why be so weird and toxic about it? He straight up said, Because you're subhuman. You're garbage. You need to be treated like
Go
garbage.
right back to an antebellum Southern Christian.
Yeah, just straight up said
antebellum
it.
South Christian.
No scruples about it at all. Had no problem saying like, yeah, that's what we call you, Flurman, flat Earth vermin.
Now, mind you, I said that because McToon professes to be a Christian. So he's a Christian, and then he, like we just heard, McToon is calling a particular category, a particular group of humans, subhuman, really non-human or inferior humans. The same thing that antebellum Southern Christian slave owners and others who sympathize with them did in the antebellum South of the United States. Same thing.
Yeah, same thing. World War II Germany.
Professional cherry picker.
The World War II Germany, all about dehumanization of the other, and that's why you see some of these guys. They are neo-Nazis. That's why they get pissed off about flat Earth and the Apollo program, because they saw Operation Paperclip as a justification of their worldview. So when they hear flat earthers saying, yeah, America never went to the moon, that shit's fake. It's all Nixon doing criminal stuff, flexing of weapons. That's all it was. They flip the fuck out, sign into the internet, and just dehumanize the other again. There's nothing new under the sun. And thank God they'll never have any power. Imagine what those people would do with even 1 ounce of power.
These people who have nothing in their worldview, nothing that they've internalized into themselves that'll actually motivate them to discipline themselves to act consistently and justly. There's nothing in their worldview. It's not as though in their worldview there truly is a God whose wrath they cannot escape, whose law is universally applicable upon everyone. Right? They don't have that. Even the so-called Christians like McToon, they don't have that. They'll just do whatever they please, so long as they can push the envelope, so long as they can keep doing what they want to do without suffering any detriments.
Yeah, like, oh, it's entertainment purposes. It's free speech. I'm like, okay, well, can you apply that to the other side of the topic? No, can't do that. My anti-flat Earth speech is free speech for entertainment purposes. Your flat Earth speech, that is misinformation, harmful disinformation, and a crime against humanity. Therefore, now you're no longer human. You've lost your rights as a human being. And you're like, wow. So you want me to believe in this globetard? Why not offer something worth believing in? You're going to tell me the logical conclusion of your globe is even more ugly, sad, and small world than I'm already looking at as in a flat Earth. You're going to level it up. You're going to take, hey, I see your flat Earth is destructful, tribalistic, endless perpetual warfare, dehumanization, othering, constant conflicts. And they're like, yeah, you know what? I got something for you. Check out this globe. It's even more destructive. Yeah. It's even worse than your flat Earth.
Mind you, these are the very people who love, in so many words, either explicitly or implicitly, and demonstratively, present themselves and talk as though they're so morally superior above everyone else. No one is equal. No one is equally as valid as them. They're superior.
Subjective. Yeah, think about that too. They'll claim the moral high ground and then say it's all subjective anyway. Like the endless contradictions. So our moral,
and not just sparsely.
Is there right
or wrong? Like sparingly, like just an onslaught. If they're in the mood.
Yeah, you'll see that too. That they think they can lie to advance the truth. Like Reductio, he purposely misrepresented what was being told to him a couple days ago. Straight up, purposely, just lied. Just straight lied. Said, hey, I talked to a flat earther who was talking about invisible bodies in the sky. Just completely misrepresented it. To say, well, you guys don't believe that, do you? The person he was talking to didn't believe it either. He was just telling you an answer because you said there wasn't one. There's no possible explanation for any of it. just pulling a rabbit out of his hat to get you to shut the fuck up and go back to the ground. Like, sure, I'll entertain your meth-filled symposium about the sky for a couple minutes. Now can we talk about the ground again? The surface of the earth. This is why you gotta be careful. I mean, they're always listening. They're always clipping things. And that's why we stopped doing Speculation Sunday. Because sure as shit, we'd be talking about some sort of speculation, and the next fucking day, they come in here. Well, I heard a flat earther talking about, whatever it was. You're like, okay, did you go talk to that person? Who was that person? No, I didn't talk to him. Well, why not? Because you want to come in here, completely strawman it, lie about it, act like it wasn't a speculation, like he had some claim and some proof he was, bringing up. It's like they're insensible. They're just like, do you really think that you can advance truth by just lying all the time? The Barbra Streisand effect. This is why Flat Earth exploded. People looked up Flat Earth and be like, wow, that's ridiculous. Just one straw man after another. And they say they come to talk to a real Flat Earther, like, yeah, no Flat Earther thinks that dumb shit. Like upward moving disc in space. If Flat Earth was that ridiculous, that silly, that completely easy to debunk, why straw man it at all? Answer that, globalists. Why would you do that? If our ideas are that bad, that silly, that ridiculous, why misrepresent what we're saying?
And notice also, again, like I just mentioned, no internalization of anything that motivates them to discipline themselves at all, let alone be charitable. Approaching the dreadful flat earthers as though they might have something going for them. They might be right. You approach them with the strict operating presumption that they're wrong and they cannot be right. Right? So now you think you have justification to just treat them however you please and just abandon any charitability at all. No charitable interpretation of what we say. No charitable interaction when trying even to debate, at worst, debate. Right? None of that. Right? And like you just mentioned, in the first place, this whole contemporary movement of basically a paradigm shift, not just of the shape of the earth, but of their entire worldview, which can now be called, as it were, the great apostasy from scientism. Right? It began with so many who were questioning the doctrines of scientism, and they were just asking questions and researching in more depth the things that they were taught, right? The distinctives of scientism. And then when they just asked their questions or even said their confusion and or their critiques, they were berated. So, as it were, whoever shot first, the ones who shot first is the scientism adherents, the globe people, the globers. They didn't have to approach us this way. They don't have to have the attitude that flat earthers are this malignant virus that you can treat without ever much animosity and antipathy and malice as you please. They don't have to approach us this way, but they decide to.
Yoder, are you there? Okay.
Yeah, barely.
All right, yeah, because I got to bounce here. I didn't want to just leave it unmodded.
When I was coming into the VC, for instance, these people, sommeliers, appear the most stupid, crass names, like this dude, Dick Driver.
Yeah. Hey, will you Gregory, like if something happens and just ping me, okay? I should be able to hear it.
Okay.
So why was I muted? I was just pointing out that there's something objectively wrong in the chat. There's like an actual you guys always go on about you guys are going on about straw mans, but I think if you were steel manning, you'd be able to point out when something that another flat earther says is just blatantly wrong. And here we can actually see this. Jager Bruno said there's a 776 really big number times pressure difference between the Earth's atmosphere and space, which just completely ignores that the atmosphere is gradual, even in both globe models and in just like general observation.
I'm pretty sure he's referring
Is he ignoring the gradient, or are you
vacuum
just
is-
superimposing that notion?
I mean, in this graph here, just like straight up ignores that there's a gradient because it says there's a straight pressure difference between the vacuum of space and Earth's atmosphere. So yes, this is ignoring the gradient.
Maybe it's a pressure difference between this given point and that given point. Maybe, just maybe.
No, that's not even said in the image. So no.
No, or maybe you just misinterpreted.
No, there's no way
Yeah.
to miss this.
Yeah.
It says that this goes straight from the Earth's atmosphere 1013 MBR and 0.00, just negligible MBR.
Yeah, you just misinterpreted. You
Okay,
see,
well,
now of course, because they have this antipathy, right? This strong hostility, right? He just did the very thing I just described. This refusal to be charitable. The people who are not
you
in the
can just
VC, they can't
admit
see this
that
image.
there
I
was
don't
a
think they
mistake.
can. If they can, Jager Bruno posted what I call info memes, because they're memes, but they're designed to inform rather than just merely entertain. And it's an arrow, purple arrow, one point pointing at the earth, another pointing into the black void, right, as it were. And he wants to interpret, this dick driver guy wants to interpret the image as though it's conveying that there's just a strict difference between this pressure over here and this very big number of pressure difference over here, as though the image is conveying that there is no gradient, when the arrow is spanning a vast distance in principle from the surface of the earth to this vague point in the black void, which clearly represents and conveys the distance where the gradient would be. But no, we got to take the time to tediously explain this that is easily comprehensible by any adult that's trying to be sensible to people like him.
Well, the image is implying that there's just going to be a straight force of like that atmospheric difference that would be pushing the atmosphere out, but because it is a gradient, then there's not going to be that force.
You don't know what you're talking about. You don't get the point of the image at all.
Well, that's what it's implying.
No, you don't understand the image at all. You didn't accurately say what the image is conveying at all.
What's the image saying? What's the image saying is
the image is clearly conveying that this is the mathematical entailments of your cosmogonic or your cosmological paradigm. There's this pressure difference over here, and this orders of magnitude pressure difference as you go up through the gradient or away through the gradient to the further away from the Earth into the black void.
Also, this isn't even like a real like measurement of force. You're just like multiplying the minuscule amount of the minuscule amount here.
It's not a real measurement.
We're dividing the minuscule number
You
here.
don't live in this cosmic. We don't live in this. It's not the structure of the thing we live in. You don't live on a ball in a cosmic void.
According to this, if space was a true vacuum, there would be an infinite pressure difference, which would be seemingly trying to imply that there would be an infinite force, which would be ridiculous.
That's obviously not the case. You're just bad at interpreting things.
Well, then why is that number there?
This is dumb.
Why is there this big number here that's supposed to imply there's something?
That's the difference. It's literally labeled. That's the pressure difference relatively in your own paradigm, just in principle, given your lore. Now watch, he still is going to just not comprehend, and have some other
Okay, just tell me what am I
back
supposed to
retort
be
just not
comprehending?
comprehending the info meme.
What's it actually trying to tell me then? You keep saying I'm not comprehending it. I'm trying to.
I just told you. You just did the thing I just predicted 7 seconds ago. Like there comes a point with you people where we try to talk to you. We're saying exactly the answer to your question, and you just don't get it. But while still convincing
Okay,
yourself
so like
that we're just so
yes,
stupid and that's why you don't understand. Never
in the
taking the
absolute
humble
vacuum of
route, never
space
taking the
and
humble route in the conversation, and internalizing
Mhm.
just the possibility that maybe you're incompetent at comprehending what we actually conveyed.
Okay, but tell me, what are the consequences of this meant to be? Sure, there is this number pressure difference between the surface of the Earth's atmosphere and the very vacuum of space.
It's called a gradient.
That alone doesn't necessarily mean there's gonna be a force that's that significant. Because again, there's gonna be a gradient. And also because that number isn't significant just because like 0 m bar doesn't mean there's going to be a really big force if there's even like a small amount.
Why not? How do you
Numbers just like
have such a tremendous force without the sufficient means to
Okay,
exert
well,
the given force? Why not?
to put this into perspective, you see the number on the left, the 0.000000133 m bar. If that was 0.00133 m bar and then 0 m bar right next to it, so that number's a really small number, right? But if you had 0 m bar right next to it, that would be like infinity. That would be implying that it would be like a really, really big force that's so big it would be infinity. But like
That's
just
not infinity.
Okay, but it's seemingly implying that there's a really big like.
Okay, that's not objective.
It's really
It's just
like
your impression.
intense. But it's
just
not
because you have that impression from the figures doesn't entail there's anything wrong
Well, it
with what's
doesn't
being
say
conveyed
anything else,
here.
though, does it? It's not saying, okay, the pressure
It
difference is
doesn't
the
say
same,
your
therefore there's going to
impression
be
that it
this
doesn't
amount
say.
of force.
It doesn't say your impression. So don't keep going trying to go in
The
circles with me
image is
about
just
that.
meaningless. Why was the image
You're just
posted?
talking about it seemingly.
What
Not
what's
objective.
the
It's just
image? What's
your
the point of
impression
the image?
about the figure.
It doesn't say anything.
Well, obviously,
It
it's
literally
not
doesn't say
conveying that
anything.
an infinite pressure must be exerted for this finite pressure. That's obviously not the point. So just throw that comment away of yours.
You can't even tell me what this is meant to be saying outside of that interpretation. Like,
I can
it's
tell
just
you,
like stating a
it's the very opposite of what you said.
non-relevant fact.
It's not infinite. It's finite. You need something to exert force, and no thing. If force is not exerted without something. If force is not exerted without something in exerting it, that's ridiculous. But you're sitting up here talking about no, there wouldn't need to be a force that exerts that force for there to be this much force exerted. Ridiculous.
What do you mean? There would be a force exerted
Said
from
what I meant.
pressure differentials, but it's not going to be this
Okay, so then what you
magnitude.
said earlier is
This
wrong.
magnitude
Then
isn't the correct equation for getting
okay, so then
the
what you
amount
just
of
said
force.
earlier is wrong. Then
The figure here is not even this figure here
okay, so then
isn't
if you're
even a
conceding what I
force.
just said to you, then what you just said earlier is wrong. Then
It's not a figure of force, though. So why is it being posted?
you just conceded to what I just said earlier. So then what you said earlier, you just conceded to what I just said. So if you conceded to what I just said, then what you just said earlier is wrong. Because you're conceding to the refutation of what
Clearly,
you
the
said
impression
earlier.
that you're supposed to be getting. That there's
You see how
something wrong.
you see how we can't have a conversation with these people? He just said that I'm right. He just said yeah. After I said the comment, he said yeah. And I said, if you say yeah to what I just said, then you're conceding that I'm right. If you concede that I'm right, that if what I'm saying is right, it's a refutation to what you
I'm
just
not
said
conceding
earlier.
anything. I'm
So then
agreeing
you're
with a
acknowledging that what you just said earlier
I'm
is
not a
wrong.
contrarian that
Now,
will
why can't
just
you just
disagree with
explicitly admit
anything
that?
that's positive.
Why does you just keep
I will
talking and
agree with true
just ignoring
statements and I will
that?
disagree with
Why does you
false
just keep
statements.
talking like right now, just being noisy and ignoring that, not having a coherent conversation?
Well, there is no coherent conversation to be said.
Because you're ruining it. We're trying to be patient with you, but we hear you striving to just ignore what I'm saying to you, to go on saying
What,
something
am I
else,
farting on
to
your
not
shit?
get to the conclusion and make the issue clear. We hear you doing this. You're on record. Anyone who wants to go out of the way to get the clip can get the clip of my conversation with you and can hear you just contriving some other reply, not trying to concentrate on the subject that I'm concentrating on that you mentioned in the first place.
Yeah, what's the subject then?
So you said that no, there wouldn't necessarily be a force to exert this force, which is obviously stupid. And then I said exactly what is the refutation, that ridiculous
No,
notion that you can't
this
have
figure.
a force
Let me
being exerted
clarify
without
for you. This figure
something
is not
exerting that
representative of
force.
force.
And then you said, yeah,
This
that's right. So if you say, yeah, that's right, then that concedes that
What are you
my
guys
refutation
talking
is right. If
about?
my
I
refutation is right,
have
then
no
what you
fucking
said earlier
clue
is
what you're
wrong.
talking about. Anyone?
Exactly.
Just
That's what
hold
they
up to
do.
this.
So he's
I
not
mean,
going to
I've been
clarify it.
listening for
I'll
about 10
clarify it.
minutes trying to figure it out. I still don't know what it is you're
Yeah.
It's
talking
because
about.
of this one image.
No, be quiet. You're not going to explain. I'm going to explain. So, Yaga Bruno posted an image. Right. I'll forward it so that you can see it because it's kind of far up in the here in the chat.
Gotcha. No
If I
worries. I
can.
appreciate it.
Yeah. I can't do that way. I'm just going to download it so I can send it down there.
I mean, I can go up. Okay, I can see it. I think I can.
Yeah, it's
Is
also
it
at the
like
bottom
the
too.
exosphere, thermosphere, that one?
Yeah, you see where I just posted that image? At the very bottom.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, so we're talking
I
about
see.
this. The dude over here, Dick Driver, is trying to critique it as though there's something wrong here, right?
Yes,
And
well,
what
for
he said is
starters, it's
he just
implying that
has
there's a
this
straight pressure
subjective
differential
impression that's not at
between
all objective, and now he has to
between.
swoop in because he's not going to let me actually
Yes,
expose his
because
error, right?
I'm going
He's
to
going to
explain
swoop
my
in,
point. You
and
want
now he
if
wants to
you want
swoop
this
and be
point
noisy
explained,
when he
I'll
heard me speaking before him, and everyone knows he's not going to make the issue clear. Okay, so he
So
tried to
Gregory,
critique
just
this
talk to the
image.
new guy
Oh, go ahead.
because talk to the new guy because that dude's bricked.
Yeah. So to make the issue clear, he's going to insist that I'm not getting his position right when I've quoted him several times on the very thing that he was harping on. Okay. So this image, he's trying to critique it, saying, well, this kind of entails that there would be an infinite force to exert this. No, there doesn't. That's not an entailment at all. You don't need an infinite force to exert a finite degree of force or quantity of force. It's obviously not an entailment. That's just a stupid notion just trying to shove onto the image, right? And then he's like, well, there wouldn't necessarily need to be something to exert the force. Excuse me? You don't need a cause for the effect? You don't need something to exert the force in order for the exertion of force to obtain, to happen? That's obviously stupid. Then he said, yeah, of course. I mean, that's true. Wasn't saying that. Well, if you say that's true, then you're saying my refutation, what you just said earlier, is true. But rather than just saying that, right, just admitting that he's wrong and that I correctly refuted him, you're just going to keep saying some other reply, yapping about some other detail, some
Okay,
other peripheral thing.
the force that we're talking about is the force like holding the atmosphere together, right?
In
Is that
his
what we're
worldview,
discussing,
sure.
or are we discussing the vacuum of space?
No. The subject was about his misinterpretation of what is being conveyed by all the graphics and text here in the
Oh,
image.
gotcha. Okay.
Now, of course,
Okay.
what you just mentioned is shoulder to shoulder related to this.
Yeah, because I'm just looking at the picture, and that's kind of what I'm.
Well, he said that there wasn't a gradient, and that was his concern.
Yeah, I forgot that, but thank you very much for mentioning that. He said that, well, the image seems to suggest that it ignores that there's a gradient. No, it doesn't ignore that. That's what the purple arrow is conveying.
Right.
The purple arrow is spanning the distance between the surface of the Earth and this vague point in the black void where the gradient would be in principle.
Gotcha. I don't know. Isn't it? Yeah, like I said, isn't it Earth's gravity basically keeping all?
Yeah, that's their
all the
metaphysical
layers
doctrine.
here.
Yeah, that's their metaphysical doctrine, so-called gravity.
Gotcha.
Now, what the so-called gravity really is, and they're bad. I can say this after years of experience of letting them say so many words in detail, like ad nauseum, so many words. They don't know how to coherently articulate the doctrine at all. However they conceive it. And they certainly don't know how to reiterate what their clerics, the doctoral scholars of theirs, actually say about the issue. They've never actually read the sources that succinctly say what gravity is. But I have, and I have many saved messages that contain the quotation and citation and the deductive syllogisms that refute their doctrine. And then when I show it to them, they're so baffled because they can't believe how stupid the doctrine actually is when you say in a sentence, one single sentence, what it is. So in the first place, they have their Newtonian or kind of pseudo Newtonian gravity, which is really kind of Cavendish, not really Newton, but let's just go with the common lore in their common version of this. The Newton gravity, I've conveniently made the initialism MAM, or you could say the acronym MAM, mass attracting mass. What does that mean? To say it in one single sentence, matter pulls other matter by being matter. Or you can say that if then proposition.
Yeah,
If matter is matter,
it's
or
the
if
effect
matter
of mass
exists.
on space time, right? So like
No, that's a different one. That's a different
okay.
one.
But
That's
I
not
thought
Newton.
that's what the attraction is.
That's
So like
different.
when matter is
I'll get to that.
attracting
I'll get to
matter,
that. I'll get to that one.
object with more mass.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll get to that one. So that's closely related, and they try to smush those two together. So there's two different versions. The one I'm talking about now is the one that you just mentioned that abrogates the one I just mentioned. Now, some of them don't understand that in their worldview. According to their clerics, which is a TGR, theory of general relativity, that what you just mentioned, that abrogates MAM, mass attracting mass, Newton's gravity. Some of them want to say that it's a version of the former, the one you mentioned. Some of them want to say that they're the same. Some want to say that they're connected. But their clerics say that no, Newton was wrong, right? It doesn't account for these other things in the far reaches of the black void away from the Earth, yada yada yada. But Newton's gravity does. It's better. You can hear Michio Kaku's clearly saying, in no uncertain terms, unequivocally, gravity does not pull. Gravity bends space. Gravity does
Right.
not pull. Gravity bends space. So that's what their clerics have now settled on. That's one of their latest canons, one of the latest decrees. Just like Christians, just like Muslims, that's what they've settled on. That's the quote unquote consensus. Okay.
What about like
But
that
before that,
image from the 30s that Einstein took of like the sun during an eclipse, and you can see its effect on light. You can like see stars
mhm.
behind it because of its
Okay,
effect
but
on space
before
time.
that,
Because
before
its
that,
mass is so immense, it can literally pull light
right,
around it.
That's a part of their lore. But before that,
Gotcha. Well, I mean,
just
you
so
can
that we
see
can,
the images. I can try and find it.
yeah, I know. Let me complete this before we hop on to something else. So MAM, mass attracting mass, to say it in one single sentence, if matter exists or if matter is matter, then matter pulls all other matter together. That's what MAM is. That's what Newtonian gravity is. So the alleged cause for matter, for all material particles pulling on each other, is them is them being matter or them existing. That's what they say, and I can show you the quote in just a moment. That's obviously ridiculous because just existing or just being a material thing is not a cause of motion. But that's what the doctrine is. That's what they say. Explicitly say in so many words to specify what
Yeah.
gravity is. They say
Yeah, they kind
if
of
matter
explain
exists or if matter
space
is matter,
time as
then
like
matter
a
pulls to other
field,
matter.
right?
Right. If matter exists, then matter pulls to other matter. Matter existing is not a cause. Things existing is not a cause of motion. The things could exist and there be no motion. It's ridiculous. That's not a cause. It falls flat on its face right there. But let's grant that as though it were true. You couldn't even verify that either, because the independent variable that you have to manipulate in order to verify this causation hypothesis, right? This is applying the scientific method, so called. The independent variable to manipulate is the existence of matter, because that's the alleged cause. That's the if part in the if then proposition. right? The hypothesis, the if-then proposition. Well, of course, you can't do that. You're not God. They're not God, and of course, in their world, there is no God that would even be able to do that.
Right, and I agree. I mean, their model of physics breaks down the closer you look at it, right? Like there's spooky physics they talk about and shit. Like
And then they
the
presume that
double
it
slit
has been empirically
experiment.
verified. Yeah, then they presume they have empirically verified it with the so-called Cavendish experiment, which is really just a measurement done with the presupposition that this this mass attracting mass, even exists. He wasn't trying to verify that it exists. He presupposed that it exists, that it's a real law, a real function law of material things, real physical law. He was trying to measure the density of the Earth. So they're
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm
using
not too familiar with Cavendish. Like I've heard the name.
yeah, little to no one is. Yeah. So the operation that they try to appeal to is not even trying to verify the proposition in contention, MAM itself, wasn't trying to discern whether it's real or not. He presupposed that it's real when trying to measure the density of the Earth. That's obviously fallacious. Presupposing the very proposition that you're trying to verify, taking it for granted, not scrutinizing it, but taking it for granted is not scrutinizing it. And of course, using a method that was not even trying to scrutinize it is also not scrutinizing the proposition. So there's that with MAM. Now, like you mentioned with TGR, for our convenience, these initialisms, right? Theory of general relativity, or in fact, GR, general relativity. It's even more convenient. As it concerns GR, if you were to say it in an if-then proposition, right? What is gravity? If matter exists, it's the same cause, but different effect. If matter exists, then space-time, quote unquote, curves. If matter exists, then space-time, quote unquote, curves. So it's the same error. It has the same error,
Yeah,
espousing
yeah,
a
matter
non-cause to
has
be a cause
mass.
of motion, right? Matter existing is not a cause of motion, right? And then you have this ridiculous metaphysical doctrine of so-called space-time, right? And when you actually analyze this notion, it's nothing more than taking the word space and taking the word time, smushing them together, putting a dash between the two, or a hyphen between the two, and then you have two versions of this. It's either a concrete substratum that
Yeah,
occupies all
space.
volume,
Yeah, the general
or
relativity
it's just a
is
mathematical
admittedly an
paradigm.
incomplete. It's a theory,
Right.
first of all,
It's two different
and it
versions depending on who
doesn't
you talk to.
like it conflicts with what is it, quantum mechanics and shit. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think anyone really
While it's
out there
espoused
has
to
the
be
answers.
the metaphysical ground for quantum mechanics and all that garbage, quantumism I call it. So that's TG
Right.
that's GR, right? If matter exists, then space time curves. There's the destructive dilemma that refutes the notion of space time. Either space time is asserted to be concrete or not, right? Or you could phrase it as a question: is space time asserted to be a concrete entity or not? If they go with yes, then they are asserting something that is not meaningfully different from the ether, which they deny, which implicitly is self contradictory. Because if they say the space time is this concrete substratum that occupies all volume, that's no different than the ether, which they deny. So if they want to deny the ether and assert the concrete, as it were, version of space time, now they're contradicting themselves. So they say, no, forget that. No, I don't want to go that route. It's just a mathematical paradigm. Well, if you go that route, then now you're reifying an abstract entity because you're saying that matter existing is now warping, curving space-time, which is a mathematical paradigm. And math is a category of a priori abstract principles and concepts. That's stupid. So now there's nowhere to go.
Yeah, nothing makes sense.
So when you actually do an analysis and internal criticism of their worldview, it falls apart like paper mache in the rain, like a sandcastle in a tsunami. And they've never thought in these terms. I Lord knows only how many times I've said these these analytical criticisms and refutations, and they're just dumbfounded. They don't know what to say. These things are so foreign to them. These terms and categories that I'm saying to them are so foreign to them. Even the very own quotations that succinctly say what their doctrine actually is, that they actually are not educated on, they're so foreign to them they didn't know what to say. I had to teach them so many times, repetitively, in many different instances of me debating them, and the debate evolves from a debate to just a lesson for them. Usually,
yeah, no, I'm learning some stuff, man. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
I'm just here to fucking ask questions, basically.
So yeah,
I've hung out here
want to try
before.
to
You guys can kind of be hostile sometimes, but right now you're pretty chill.
Oh no, yeah. So with all that being said, gravity is the great metaphysical doctrine to try and hold all the things in the world together. Because what's their worldview? The worldview is that there's a bunch of matter flailing around in a black void, and there's these forces somehow, these forces, inexplicably operating and moving around and making things do what they do in various ways. And the great force of them all is gravity, right? And it pulls, as in MAM, mass attracting mass, or as in GR, the materials together so that we have any
yeah,
bulk
they don't even understand
all.
gravity at all. Like they don't know if it's a
Right.
force. Like
So,
yeah.
So that's their worldview, right?
It's just kind of there.
And that's also what accounts for in their worldview, what keeps the air near the ball we allegedly live on, so that we don't
And then they
suffocate
talk
together.
about like gravitational waves and stuff, and
all that other stuff. So now that we've already gone through the refutation, now it's evident again that they have a glaring gap in their worldview. Right? They can't account for the reality of the air staying near us so that we don't suffocate us, so that we don't suffocate, and so that we can't even have the freaking debate. So the reality of air pressure and us breathing is rendered absurd in their worldview, given the refutation to their most fundamental worldview. But that's not the worst part. If you want to be thoroughly analytical, without gravity, you don't have the primeval atom expansion. This is a part of their lore to be consistent with all the notions that make up their worldview. Part of their lore is that gravity is what holds things together since the very beginning, since the so-called Big Bang, the primeval atom expansion. Well, without that, you have this expansion or explosion, however way you want to say it, whoever you're talking to, and there's nothing to bring the material things together. So then that entails what? That all material bodies that we have that exist before us would all be completely disintegrated to the most fundamental particles. That's obviously not the case. So this proposition entails a false proposition. That which implies falsehood is false.
What's going on?
So that's called a deductive refutation. Again, it's a reductio ad absurdum argumentum, reduction to absurdity argument. Their doctrine, given the refutation of gravity, entails that all bulk matter will be disintegrated down to the most smallest, irreducible, indivisible particles. We don't live in that world, so that's obviously a false doctrine. We wouldn't have the air, we wouldn't have us humans, we wouldn't have the earth, we would have nothing. It would just be a black void full of disconnected, indivisible particles. That's obviously not the case. And their own clerics say this too. They know this. So it's not just some unbelievers doing some sort of external criticism. That's an internal critique that I did, and their clerics know that this is an entailment of the absence of gravity.
Hey, quick interrogatory, Mr. Gregory.
Hey,
you doing all right?
I'm all right.
Hey, I appreciate you guys. I'm gonna take off. I'm gonna look into that Cavendish guy that you were talking about.
Oh yeah. Henry Cavendish thrived
Is that
throughout
man's
the
Calusa?
Word. Well, you guys take
thrived
care.
in the 18th century. You too. Peace.
Oh, sorry. I thought you all were. Sorry, I come in and I missed that he was still continuing. Sorry, I thought he had finished. Sorry. But quick question for you, Greg.
Okay.
The fellow who was trying to claim the Earth curvature from a fisheye lens or reticulated lens or whatever the hell he was talking about, where did he end up? Did he just spiral out of control, the debate daddy fellow?
Oh, he just kept being noisy, and then spoke up, and he, gave another scathing critique about other related issues about this type of behavior that they routinely exude, and then because he got censured because the mods were not going to tolerate his antics that they heard him doing with me when I was trying to debate him for the past 10 minutes or so. And then of course he left. I think that's how that ended.